Chapter 4.2, standard form using vertex. Okay, so basically, as we talk about quadratics, we're going to talk about another way to write a quadratic. And what that means is, if we have a quadratic, this is also written as a quadratic in standard form. If I were to demonstrate this to you, okay, and let me just explain this. So if I had y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared and then plus 1. Basically, all standard form does is just square this. You don't need to know how to do this, but what happens is it FOILs. First outside, inside, last, which that's an algebra 2 thing. So x squared minus x, so minus 2x, and then we have plus 1. So all I did was first outside, inside, last, okay? Multiplied them, combined like terms, and then distribute. So I have 2x squared minus 4x plus 2 plus 1, and then just combine like terms. So basically what they're saying is this equation is the same thing as this, just written differently, which it is. This is written, we call this standard form, okay, which we have not talked about yet. And this is called vertex form, which we have, okay? And they stand for the same thing, they're just written differently. If I were to go to Desmos and graph this and graph this, they would be the exact same graph, written differently. So when you're given an equation in standard form, we have to still be able to identify the vertex. So how do you find the vertex when it's written in standard form? Well, first of all, we're going to label the number in front of the x squared, a, the number in front of the x value, b, and the constant is c. Then just the number without an x at the end is c. So in this case, 1, since there's nothing there, it's just a 1. A is 1, B is 5, and C is negative 14. When we do that, in order to find the vertex, all you're going to do is take negative B, so negative B value, over 2 times the A value, and then you're going to take that number and plug it into your equation to find your Y value. And we're going to do a couple examples here. That was the example I just showed you. So, converting standard form to vertex form. Well, first of all, I have to find my vertex in order to write it in vertex form. Well, what is my A value here? What is my B value? And what is my C value? A is negative 1, B is 2, and C is 5. So in order to find the vertex, I have to use my formula that I gave you, okay, the H value of the vertex, okay, if we have a vertex HK, the H value is just negative B over 2 times A. So I'm going to take negative 2 over 2 times negative 1, which gives me negative 2 over negative 2, which is just positive 1. So the H value for my vertex is 1. To find the K value, now I have to take this 1 and plug it in to my equation for all the x's. Let me say that again. In order to find the K of the vertex, you're going to take the answer you got for your H value, plug it into your standard form function for all the x's. So K is going to be, I have negative, and then I'm going to plug in a 1 instead of an x, negative 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 5. All I did was take the x's and replace them with the H value. So in this case, I have negative, and since I'm just squaring a 1, it would just be negative 1 plus 2 plus 5, which gives me 1 plus 5, which is 6. So my K value is 6. So my vertex, in this case, is 1, 6. Now, I have to write the standard form equation in vertex form. Well, vertex form, if you remember, we just did it. Y equals A times X minus H squared plus K. Vertex form, H and K are right here. So I'm going to replace, I'm going to have minus 1 plus 6 here. Okay, and then I just have my x. Now, how do I know what my a value is? Well, I have my a value. The a values are the same. So what is my a value? -1. So in this case, it's just negative, and this is my vertex form, and that is my standard form. Now, they're not always going to be pretty like that and come out. Sometimes you will have fractions. Use a calculator if you have to. Don't skip the fraction ones, just use a calculator, or you can graph it on Desmos and find the value. So in this case, we'll do one that has a fraction. My a value is 2, my b value is 10, and my c value is 7. First thing I have to do is I have to find my hk. Well, h, we'll use a different color. H is going to be negative b over 2 times a, which is negative 10 over 2 times 2, which is negative 10 fourths. If you simplify that, if I can squish that in there, I have negative 5 halves. Okay, so my h value is negative 5 over 2. So we have to take that negative 5 over 2 and plug it in to my standard form equation for all the x's. Replace all the x's with negative 5 over 2. So one's here, and I'm going to replace with that. So I have 2 times negative 5 over 2 squared plus 10 times negative 5 over 2 plus 7. So for me, I'm going to do my squared first. So I have 2 times 25 over 4. Just square the top, square the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply this. 10 times, my 10 there looks really cute. There we go. 10 times negative 5 is negative 50. Negative 50 divided by 2, because it's just over 1. Negative 50 divided by 2 is negative 25. Plus 7. So now I just have 2 times 25, which is 50. 50 over 4. Minus 25 plus 7. Now I'm going to change these all to have a common denominator of 2. And if you don't know what I'm doing, make sure you just use a calculator. You can plug that into a calculator. So this is 25 over 2. Minus, this is going to be 50 over 2. How did I do that? Well, what's 50 divided by 2? 25. And then this one's going to be 14 over 2. So now I'm just going to add and subtract all the numerators. So I just have 25 minus 50 plus 14 all over 2. 25 minus 50 is negative 25. Negative 25 plus 14 gives me positive 11. So this would be 11. Negative, wait, let me say that again. Negative 25 plus 14 is going to be negative 11 over 2. So my HK, let's go ahead and write our quadratic now. My HK is negative 5 over 2 and negative 11 over 2. So I have y equals, my a value is the same, 2x plus 5 over 2 squared minus 11 over 2. And there's your vertex form.